Johto, the region west of Kanto, the main stage for Pokemon Gold and Silver. A lot, and I mean a lot, can be said about Johto and its impact on Pokemon. Many believe Generation 2 to be the best gen of Pokemon, even its peak. Gold and Silver introduced 100 new Pokemon, and with that came a lot of really cool shinies. In today's video, I'm going to go over my top 10 shiny Pokemon of Generation 2. Keep in mind, this is my opinion and you may not agree with some of my picks. This is the second video of a series where I'll be doing each generation of Pokemon. If you haven't already, please feel free to like and subscribe. All support is very much appreciated. With that all out of the way, let's get started. Scizor is a really great Pokemon. It's competitively viable and the design is so clean. The red makes Scizor really pop as a Pokemon, but with its shiny, Scizor turns into an almost lime green shade. I know green shinies get a lot of hate in the community, but I think Scizor is an exception. The green makes Scizor really retain that bug typing look and almost makes sense that it comes from Scyther. Do I think the shiny looks better than the original? Not necessarily, but I do think it makes Scizor look really good. Toda is a very odd pick, I'm sure, and probably not a Pokemon you'd see in the top 10 shiny list, but I really love what they did with its shiny. The very slight change in its blue and changing the spikes on its back to a nice dark blue really complements each other really well. Although Cyndaquil is my preferred starter for Gen 2 and arguably the best starter of any game, its shiny is pretty disappointing. I'm a sucker for blue, and Toda really has that perfect shade. Corsola, a very interesting Pokemon. I actually really like the pink and white of Corsola, but once again, I'm a sucker for that blue. And that shade, whew, it's so good. I've always liked Corsola. I feel like it's a super underappreciated Pokemon and not too many people include it on their teams when they play through Silver, Gold, Heart Gold, or Soul Silver. I think if Corsola had its shiny variant from the start, instead of pink, people 100% use it more. When I chose Slugma for number 7, I felt like it could have been way higher. Slugma looks so good, and that ash gray reminds me of Charcoal. It is such a shame that Magcargo is so bad looking as a shiny. For some reason, Game Freak thought omitting the color that Slugma was for a shiny onto Magcargo was a good idea. Magcargo got this purplish pink messy blobby looking mess, while you have Slugma who looks so cool and so awesome. I've always tried to incorporate Slugma into my teams when I played through my Heart Gold version. Like Corsola, Slugma is super underappreciated, and the shiny elevates Slugma into a top tier shiny. Umbreon. Easily one of the best evolutions out of all of them, and one of the Pokemon you start with in Pokemon Coliseum, which is a super underrated game, and if you've not played yet, definitely give it a play. It's usually a top 3 shiny for most people making these lists. But for me, I have it at number 6. I love Umbreon. I argue it's my favorite evolution. Umbreon goes from having yellow stripes to really crisp, light blue stripes, and we know how I am with blue. Eevee evolves into Umbreon at night, and that blue looks like moonlight reflecting off water. The blue seems to fit Umbreon so well, and I'll say this time and time again, I'm a sucker for the blue shinies. I also love how Umbreon is quote-unquote a rare shiny to obtain. Back in the day, not a lot of people knew how to evolve Eevee into Umbreon, so when you had the miraculous luck of having or hatching a shiny Eevee, of course shiny Umbreon was one of the ones you wanted to get because it looks so cool, but not everyone knew how to evolve it, and that's why I think Umbreon is my number 6. When I think of Azumarill, I always think of how scary and insane and adamant huge power Azumarill really is. That attack stat is unreal. When I played competitively back in Gen 4, Azumarill was always on my team. It's such a threatening Pokemon, and it's shiny, I'm just gonna say, is a shiny Pokemon. Like Magikarp, the Gold Azumarill is so good, and that's why it's my number 5. When you think of shiny Pokemon from Generation 2, I doubt Entei comes to mind. To be honest, I feel Entei gets looked over among the three dogs. You have Suicune, who can be a wall of pain, and Raikou is just really dope looking. Its shiny variant adds a nice gray shade over its face, and its brown fur gets a little lighter. Entei has always been a favorite of mine since Pokemon the third movie. Something about the older Pokemon movies always gets me. Maybe it's the nostalgia from watching as a kid, but Entei was always so cool in that movie, and he whooped fan favorite Charizard up. Looking back at the movie and recently watching it, I do find it a little weird that he was Papa, but honestly, Entei, the design of Entei is really good, and the fact that you can catch him in Coliseum makes it even better, and Game Freak is very smart in making Kanto and Johto Pokemon extremely rare in Generation 3, so you have to go out and buy Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD. But I digress. I love Entei Shiny, and I also love Entei as a Pokemon, and that's why it's my number 4. Ho-Oh, everyone's favorite rainbow bird that happens to appear in the very first episode of Pokemon. As a kid, I wondered what that Pokemon was for the longest time. When I finally got a hold of Pokemon Silver, I finally got to see. Ho-Oh's shiny reminds me of the first episode so much. I'm actually convinced that Game Freak based the shiny off that episode. The gray tail feathers with the gold wings really makes Ho-Oh look more legendary than it already is, and that's awesome. The best shinies are ones that make a Pokemon look better, and in this case it couldn't be more true. Generation 2 did a really good job of its shiny Pokemon, and going through and researching for this video, picking my top 3 was actually one of the most difficult things I had to do involving Pokemon. Now, after saying what I said about how hard it was to pick my top 3, I'm sure my number 2 pick will take a few people by surprise. For my number 2, I decided to go with Noctowl. Noctowl is another one of those shiny Pokemon that I loved in the anime. As a kid, when I saw Ash had a different colored Noctowl than the one in my Silver version, I was perplexed. I was confused. Shiny Noctowl kind of reminds me of a shiny Ho-Oh. It almost makes it look like, in Noctowl's case, actually look like a legendary Pokemon. Regular Noctowl is kinda bland, to be honest, just brown, and the shiny really brings Noctowl life and gives it so much more personality. To be honest, in the anime, I thought that the animation crew actually got the coloring for Noctowl wrong, because they didn't really say anything in the anime about the Noctowl being shiny. Ash kinda just caught Noctowl and that was it. Brock didn't say anything, Misty didn't say anything, everyone he encountered, no one said anything about this shiny. And as a 7-year-old kid, I was just mind blown. I was like, how did they not get this as a shiny Pokemon? But overall, Noctowl is a great looking shiny, not just for nostalgia's sake, but the coloring, the look of Noctowl, and how it makes it more legendary looking just complement each other so well, and that's why Noctowl is my number 2 shiny of Generation 2. So for my number 1, I had to go with the mascot of Pokemon Silver, Lujah. Lujah is easily one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and Pokemon 2000 is my absolute favorite Pokemon by far. I know the first movie is really good, I understand that, but Pokemon 2000 just hit home with me. The design of Lujah as kind of the god of the sea fascinated me as a kid. Compared to the other legendary birds, Lujah's design is actually quite simple, but I think that simplicity really makes Lujah my favorite out of all of them. And with its shiny, that nice pink, it really complements Lujah well. It doesn't really add to its legendary status as Ho-Oh does, but I think it just looks absolutely dope. A part of me really wanted Shiny Lujah to be Shadow Lujah from XCO Darkness after I played through that game. Because who can deny, Shadow Lujah looks awesome. Easily the best looking Shadow Pokemon, and I'd say if it was a Shiny variant, the best looking Shiny variant of all time. But sadly, we did not get that. But I say oh well. Pink on Lujah still looks fantastic, and that's why Lujah is my number 1 shiny of Generation 2. So, that's my top 10 shinies of Generation 2. You may not agree with my picks, and I'd love to hear what some of your favorite Gen 2 shinies are in the comments below. Thank you all for watching.